He'd kind of been built up. You know, he's kind of an aloof guy. I went in and met him, and I kind of, when I was in the Army, said, gee, what would be worse, to go to fight in Korea or go study under Sandy Meisner?
Sandy, to me, was a teacher. He was the only teacher to me. I mean, and with all due respect to everybody else.
And Meisner came into, excuse me, Sandy, Mr. Meisner, God. He was not my father. He was nobody's father. He was your teacher. He was your mentor. He had standards, and you better cut it, or you weren't back. But that was the reality of the world that you were preparing yourself for. And anybody who left the neighborhood playhouse left prepared to go to work the next day.
Oh, I don't think I was ever comfortable. No. I think it was 2 years of stress and strain, almost unrelieved. Some moments were better than others. Once in a while you would do an improvisation and get a slight nod of approval from Sandy, and that would be a red letter day. And there were other days when it was disaster.
Especially my generation of the 60s, he was a man who actually knew something. One of the first authentic people that I and most of us had ever met in our lives. And of course he was autocratic about those things he believed in because he knew them to be the truth. And we knew we were being exposed to the truth, that is, to something which was absolutely practicable, and which absolutely worked, and which we wanted desperately to learn.
I was talking to a young actress who went to the neighborhood playhouse. This is recently. And to hear her talk about Sandy, the kind of respect that she had for him and the excitement that she felt was what we felt 20 or 30 years before. And I thought, isn't it marvelous? Here's a man who has had a laryngectomy and he's gone through the tortures of the damned physically. And the spirit is indomitable. That comes through very clearly. I mean, I loved it that she was still apprehensive about, you know, I said, would you dare be late for a class? She said, oh, never.
So here we are at the beginning. Why are you sitting here so silently? You're waiting for me to say something out of this world.
In the first class that we had, Sandy asked, what do you think is the craft of acting? What is acting? And it was the first class, the first day, and some poor schmuck raised his hand and started telling everything he learned in college about acting, and went on and on and on. And Sandy listened for a few minutes, and he finally went, shut up, you talk too much. And with a twinkle in his eye. I mean, he wasn't, but his point was made, you know, that it wasn't a school for sort of working from here. And he said, the seed to the craft of acting is the reality of doing. It's the first thing he ever taught us. And from there, I was on a roller coaster of 2 years of his method.
Listen for the sounds that come from the street. Let's say the car, the number of cars you can hear coming from the street. Do that now. Let me ask you this. Did you listen as yourself or were you playing some character? Did you do it in character, theatrically, or did you count?
Yeah, me, I counted.
You counted.
Yeah.
What about you?
First I was listening as a student, like
The character, yes.
and then I was confused because I couldn't decipher, I couldn't hear a car, and the sounds were confusing. And then I heard what I thought, I'm pretty sure it was a car. And then I got bored, and then I heard another car, so I heard two cars.
We won't discuss the boredom. So part of your acting was legitimate.
Yeah.
And 2/3 of it was fake.
Yes.
What do you do when you teach acting, Sandy? I mean, is it possible to talk about what does an acting teacher do? What are you teaching?
When I first began to teach, I taught with that kind of semi-intellectual manipulation which one sees at its worst in the colleges, you see. And rules, intellectual theories,
Yes.
you know. You can talk about how to play a part, but until it finds its living roots in you, it's in your head.
It's what? It's in your head.
In
Yes.
your head.
It's in your head, yes.
And I am against the head.
Yes.
See?
You have warm eyes.
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 That's enough of that. It's an exercise designed to eliminate all intellectuality from the actor's instrument and to make him a spontaneous responder to where he is, what's happening to him, what's being done to him.
In the beginning, there's an enormous amount of work and time devoted to getting rid of all kinds of prejudices about what acting really is, so that the initial work is a sort of a process of getting the actor to really pay attention to the other person. Isn't that correct?
Your hair is shiny.
Right.
Your hair is shiny.
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 You know, you're making reading in order to create variety. You follow?
Yeah.
Don't.
Okay.
Do it again from another object.
That process went on for a considerable length of time until we were truly able to surrender all the sort of theatricalized behavior that we'd all practiced, you know, in summer stock or whatever it was that our varying backgrounds had provided for us.
Your earrings are small.
Your earrings
It's empty. It's inhuman. Right. But it has something in it. It has connection. It's a connection which comes from listening to each other. But it has no human quality, yet